Welcome back. My name is Dalton Smith, and this is Trust the Process, the podcast. I am so excited to have a very special guest today. We are trying to mix it up, give you guys different perspectives, different people. So I present Mrs. Smith, my beautiful wife.
Hello.
Thank you for coming. It took a lot of effort.
Thanks for having me. I traveled very far to be here.
Yeah, she traveled from the bedroom with Kaya to the couch this morning.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, mom life's tough, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, we tried to sleep in this morning, and Kaya said no.
Yeah.
She said she wanted to party.
It's because she knew you were sleeping in.
She did. I feel like she knows. Any day I go to work, she sleeps until 10. And then if I sleep in, she's up.
Yep.
She likes to party. So we did something very unique for this episode. So what we did is I went to my best friend, ChatGPT, and I plugged in some information about Madison and myself, and it's going to give us a full outline for this podcast. So if anybody doesn't know, this is my beautiful wife, Madison Smith. We have been married for just over 2 years. We have been together for a little over 5 years now, probably 5.5, and we just had our first baby girl. Let's get a little background on Madison. So a lot of people know a good amount about me. If you're new here, I'm a filmmaker. I'm the owner of MPI Productions. I'm an adventurer and explorer, a motivational speaker, a mental health enthusiast, and I have about 10,000 other hobbies, including loving my wife and my baby. So Maddie, do you want to tell people just a little bit about you? Just leading up to, meeting me and stuff?
Well, I went to Vieira High School and then graduated and went to FAU.
What year did you graduate?
2015.
From Vieira?
Yeah.
So I was Vieira class of 09, and then I got held back, and I was class of 2010. And then I dropped out, and I was class of nothing.
Class of nothing.
Nah, I felt like a loser, though, and me and Madison had really different experiences. You hated high school,
Well, we
though.
were losers in different ways then, because I felt like a loser, too.
Yeah, but I guess you felt like a loser in the more traditional way. You were
Yeah.
like, disrespected by people, and high school kind of sucks.
High school's terrible. It is terrible. Like, except for one of my brothers, actually both my brothers
Both.
had a good high school experience. One brother was super popular, and then my other brother was freaking jock of the year,
Yeah.
like lacrosse king.
And
they
it's funny.
they both played lacrosse, actually.
I didn't do any of that. So, like, her younger brothers are 18 and 20, and I witnessed both of their high school careers. I literally watched them both go into high school, and I remember thinking the whole time, mine wasn't like this.
Yeah.
They did the dances, they did the sports. Like, the other day, Landon, who's now 18, literally had a recap from Vieira High Lacrosse, and he gets, like, the game-winning point, like, buzzer beater. They're like, Landon Almonte. I'm like, bro, that's, like, the dream high school moment.
Yeah, no, they crush. So, like, you got in trouble all the time, and then I just coasted through. I had, like, 3 friends. That was it. And I just was scared of the world. I was scared of everything. So I was just like, well, I have my friends, and I'm just going to be that quiet girl and keep to myself.
But you didn't want that. I've heard you say that. That's not what you wanted.
No, I would see all the cool kids doing fun stuff, and I wanted to do it, but I didn't really fit into their dynamic.
Yeah.
I'm not really a Vieira kid. Like,
Well, Vieira kid's such a, interesting term. I definitely agree there's, a Vieira kid thing.
I was in the business academy, which helped me because I feel like if I was just in Vieira, which I was my freshman year and I did not do well, and then I joined the business academy, and that's like a special little group that makes you feel kind of included, which was great. And that actually helped me get onto my path for my career. So I'm really glad I was in the business academy. So it was nice. That's how I made my few friends that I had.
Yeah.
And now they're my best friends to this day. Shout out Courtney Coward.
Nah, you've got some core friends, and we're both very blessed to have some great core friends. Some that came all the way back in high school. I've got several long-term friends. One of my longest friends, Keith Thomas, has been through the gutter with me. We went through it all. I mean, literally, dude, all of it. I love you, buddy. I hope you watch this. So moving on, going to college, I know that you and me and about a billion other kids wanted to be marine biologists. We were like, yeah, it sounds like an awesome job. I remember when I was a kid, at one point I wanted to be an architect. I think I liked the word architect more than anything.
I could not see you doing
No, I'm
that.
talking like kid dreams, right? Like you have no actual intent. You're just like, ooh, architect. But yeah, like I thought military every now and then, not necessarily because I wanted to. It just seemed like kind of like a safe thing. But in high school, I was just in so much shit and so much trouble before that conversation, because I feel like your first year or two of high school, you maybe talk about it a little bit, but like year 3 and 4, like when you're transitioning out to go to your college, it becomes a little bit more of a serious topic.
Well, I kind of knew like my whole life I want to do something with animals. I actually wanted to be a veterinarian at first. But then I found out I was allergic to cats, and I was like, can't do that.
But you did do something pretty similar. So.
Well, then I found out I want to do ocean stuff, so then I was like marine biologist. Went to FAU, majored in marine biology, and I was like, that's not for me either, because I'm not into the research. I found out I was into like the hands-on wanting to help animals.
Yeah.
Like the research and stuff is like great, but that's like long-term helping. I wanted to see like
Immediate,
the results
like, boots on the
instantly.
ground.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be a good like first responder, like someone that goes to like a whale wash up or something like that.
So, but then like you have to do the research on everything. Like I want to do the part where you're just like kind of get into the guts and everything and see what's going on, and then pass that to the researchers and they can figure out how the whale got to where they were. I just want to do the nitty gritty and get the answer instantly.
That's why me and you need a YouTube channel where we go and adventure and mess with animals and do cool stuff.
But legally, we can't do that. We need a professional.
That's the thing about life, though. You don't know that. All we need is a leading professional to guide us.
Well, yeah.
Like that girl on Instagram that's a scientist, biologist down in the Everglades. Like, I'm just saying, like, I feel that me and you have some kind of a future doing animal stuff. It's right there. Like, I'm obsessed with working with animals. You're obsessed with working with animals. And I feel like eventually we'll find some really cool way to cross blend those together.
Yeah, probably.
So going into college, I drop out of high school. My whole purpose from 18 to 21 is get off probation and get my life together and maybe start thinking about what I want to do, but mostly just stay out of jail. And so my mom was really thrilled when I started having fun, legal fun. The irony is it was like there was still some illegal activities, but it was normal stuff like trespassing and jumping into a pool in Cocoa Beach that we weren't staying at the hotel, like little stuff. And my mom was just so stoked that I was just having fun with Tyler Rago. And, we were drinking and partying, but we were 21. And so it was normal kid fun versus when I was 18 and I was literally robbing houses. And so I had an interesting 18 to 21 because most people are going to college and moving into a dorm and getting these life experiences. And I'm at home just getting out of the mud. But it was cool because I felt, I don't know, not excited like as if I went to college, but excited like I had this new beginning, right? So you go to college, you were there for a couple years.
Well, here's the thing that nobody else knows. I got into FAU, but I actually didn't. I didn't get into any colleges. I was terrible at school, so I kind of just squeaked by. And then it was time to apply to colleges, and I applied to FAU, UNF, FGCU, and then they all rejected me because I was terrible at all the big tests you had to take and stuff.
But you had the GPA that you needed, right? It was the test to get into the school.
It was, what are the tests called? ACT and SATs. I was terrible at them, and I took them like 3 times.
So precursor, because Madison will tend to beat herself up and maybe describe herself in ways she shouldn't. She is a smart girl who has done plenty of difficult courses and things of that nature, but tests.
I'm a hands-on girl, but a test,
It's
like,
when you know it's coming.
yeah.
And what's funny about Madison is even if she has the information retained, the stress of
it
the
makes me
test.
second guess myself, and I ruin everything.
But we've come a long way. Madison has developed a ton of skills. It's been really impressive to watch because fast forward to pretty much Madison at a crossroads with college. I think before we met in March of 2017, and I was in a limbo spot. I was engaged.
Well, hold on, we're getting ahead.
Well, I didn't want to focus too much on school, but we can as much as you want.
Well, I feel like people should know what I had to do to get into college
For sure.
because everybody rejected me. So my mom forced me to write an appeal. Well, she didn't force me, but I got so hard on myself. I was like, well, I just give up. I quit. And she was like, if you write an appeal, they might take you. And I'm like, no, I suck. They don't like me. This is my fate. And so I wrote the appeal, and they actually ended up accepting me after I pretty much begged.
And
They re-looked at me closer and was like, okay, she's not as bad as we thought at school. Accepted.
No,
And
it's not that you're
so-
bad at school. And I think there's something to say about that. No doesn't have to be no. And
Yeah.
I have taken no highly offensively in my life, highly offensively. And what sucks about that is when you're too emotional to handle a no, you make it more than it's meant to be. And then you start self-reflecting the wrong way, and then it impacts you the wrong way. So to anybody out there, I've sent emails that were not responded, and I took it as a no. I did a follow-up, and then I got the job.
Yeah, you just got to keep asking. That's what I had to do to help me get through school always.
Yeah,
That's how I got into college. That's how I graduated college.
You were literally told no, and then went back in.
Yep.
So when me and Madison meet, she's still registered to the school. She's still living in Boca.
Yep.
I was working at Beach and Boards Fest. It was March 2018. Cammy, hey, come here. What had happened was in November of the previous year, 2017, I was engaged. A lot of people have heard the story. My ex and I separated very abruptly. I went into a spiraling depression.
I saw them get engaged.
Yeah, people
I
might
was
not know
there
that.
for it.
So people might not know this. Madison was a committed, hardcore fan of me and the crew to the point that she had a nickname for me, and I was Video Guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, what?
You were like the hot video guy.
Okay, so the hot video guy. And I didn't really believe Madison when she told me this story. I was like, she's gassing this up. But then her mother and family members confirmed, like, no, Maddie would go to the surf contests.
I would try
and
to walk past him, see if he would notice me and my friends. Never
stand-
did.
Well, I have tunnel vision. Maddie sees it now. When I
Yeah.
work, dude, you could have had your leg chopped off, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm just focused on settings.
And he was in a relationship, which I didn't know. And then I found
Yeah.
out, and I was like, well, shucks, I guess
And
it's just the pipe dream anyway.
I am a very committed relationship guy, as you know, and I just am unavailable. So I don't see anything, like truly, which should make you feel good about all the environments I'm in because, like, you're like, yeah, but there's going to be girls there. I was like, there was girls there? I had no idea. So meeting Madison was super funny because she was aware of me. She literally witnessed me propose to my ex.
And I said the
person.
words, she's so lucky. I wish I had a guy like that.
So December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2016, I jump out of a helicopter, swim into the beach, fly a plane over, and propose to my then girlfriend. The whole beach watches it. Madison watches it. Then it goes on the news. Then the local hometown news interviewed me and wrote an article on it. And I remember that relationship had a lot of like manufactured support from people that didn't know us. And what I mean by that is like we looked cute. We were blonde and we were young and we went and did fun stuff. But people didn't really know the context of the relationship. And we were always being endorsed by people that didn't know us. Like, oh, you guys you're the dream couple. Oh, you're supposed to get married. So I don't think we got engaged under the premise of we felt pressured, but I do think that the pressure was there. We didn't even know it. Like, it was like people, and I don't want to like disassemble it because it wasn't bad, but it's different than what people say now. That's all I'll say. It's very different. And I was young. I wasn't hurt yet. I wasn't vulnerable yet. So my audience's connectivity to me was like, this guy's cool. Like, they look fun.
Yeah.
After that, and they saw me go through it, what happened was in November, very abruptly, I went to lunch and she just, decided she wanted to leave. And I went through like 60 days, November, December. It was until New Year's Day, I was really not going anywhere. A lot of friend support, a lot of family support. Then like New Year, I felt better. I started traveling again. I went to Barbados. I went to Nicaragua. I did all these trips. In March, let's call it like, I don't know, 16th, 11th, 10th, is something around there, is Beach and Boards Fest. And I'm doing my thing. I'm filming. It's like my favorite event. And I go look for Tristan Larrivee, my boy, and he's in the parking lot at the half pipe. Shocker. He's got a skateboard and he's skating. Like, he's literally doing a crook. He's doing like a kickflip crook on the flat bar. And I'm like, okay, sick. Where's his camera? And then I look over and this cute girl and her friend have literally the camera, like a $10,000 rig. And jokingly, I roll up and I'm like, oh, yeah, you're working hard, buddy. And I was like, hey, nice to meet you guys.
Well, that's his perspective. So that's his end. Our end was we're trying to leave because it was cold and we're like, we're over this. So we try to leave and Tristan's like, yo, I'm trying to skate. Will you hold my camera? And we're like, sure, whatever. Because I went to high school with Tristan, so I knew him. And we sat on the curb, watched him skate, and we were holding the camera. Next thing you knew, Dalton's walking up and we're like, oh my God, it's happening. We've been like watching it from a distance.
You've been
for
manifesting
years.
This moment.
He's walking up to us right now. Be cool. And I am so not cool. And we're sitting there, and years ago, my friend called dibs on Dalton. So I was like, all right, whatever. Whenever you get in with Dalton, I'll just date one of his friends and we can connect like that. Boom.
Which is so funny to me that like I'm probably the most oblivious person to that kind of stuff. Like, I would have obviously never known, but I think it's funny that was happening behind the scenes.
So he's walking up like, where's my camera? And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, be cool.
Here comes video guy.
Yep, here comes video guy.
Well, and so here's what's funny is during that window when I meet Madison, I'm back with my ex, which was not the plan. My friends were pissed. My family was not thrilled. I had just gone through this horrible breakup. I was really depressed. And it's kind of like someone doing something stupid and getting hurt, and you help them, and then they go do it again.
Yeah.
Like, my friends were genuinely pissed. Like, I remember Kadeem was not about it. And it was like, bro, he even said, he's like, dude, I love you, man. Like, I don't want to see you go through that again. But I had this feeling that, like, since she came back, I needed closure bad. So it was Valentine's Day. I actually was seeing someone at the time, and I told them, hey, sorry, I've got to go back with my ex. And I felt terrible. I had to be honest with her, but I felt terrible. And was literally like, I think me and my ex were back together for 10 days. There it might even been a week. And wouldn't you know, during that week, I meet the damn perfect girl. And so when I meet Maddie, I've got the cliche moment. The like eye contact, the sparkle, the look, the butterflies.
Don't ask us what we talked about, though, because we definitely don't remember that.
We do not remember.
I like blacked out.
But what I do remember is butterflies. I remember that I had met so many pretty girls and just I'd been in a relationship, but I just had never felt like that. Like, I'd never felt like someone looked at me like that. And to be honest, I was pretty socially out there in Brevard County when my breakup happened. So I wasn't really stoked on the idea of people trying to like take advantage of the situation and like, oh, like Dalton's single. Not like I genuinely am interested in this person, right? So like it just seemed organic, and the way you looked at me, and then I literally got mad at God. I was like, what the hell, bro? Now? You couldn't have had her come to me 2 weeks ago? Because I'm a committed guy. So
Meanwhile, I thought I was making something out of nothing because the only part of the conversation I remember was, maybe I'll see you around. And we walked away and I tapped my friend. I was like, that totally means he wants to see me again, right? And she's
Dude.
like, totally. And I texted Tristan. I'm like, who's your friend? Pretending I know nothing when I know everything. And he's
That's
like, oh,
funny.
he just got out of something big, but I'll let him know that you think he's cute. And I was like, great, thanks.
So leaving that conversation, I wasn't trying to do the like steezy, like, ooh, yeah, like I'll see you next time. It was like, I can't
Which is why
capitalize
I
on
was,
this.
I knew it didn't actually mean like you wanted to see me again, but I had to make something of it. I just met you.
Let me
And I
put it
was
this
like,
way.
oh my God.
I meant what I said, meaning, yeah, I'd love to see you again, but sorry, I'm committed to this relationship that I'm in.
I just
So,
thought I wasn't good
nah,
enough.
so
I mean, he's like on this pedestal to me, so I'm like, I'm this tiny little peasant girl. Like, he would never want to be with me anyway, so it's fine.
it's like a movie. I think it's funny.
It's something I've dreamed of since I was 10. I've literally, my dad just said it the other day. He's like, it's so crazy you married Dalton because your whole life you've just said you want to meet a surfer boy at a surf contest. And that's what you want so bad. And next thing you know,
That's exactly what happens.
it's exactly what happened somehow.
So leaving that event, Madison texts Tristan and is just like, hey, I think that guy's cute.
I
Let me
also
know what's
unfollowed
good.
Dalton and refollowed him on social media to see if he'd notice me and follow me back. And he didn't.
Well, and at the
So-
time, I was really active in everything. Like I was working out, I was traveling, like I was kind of depressed, so I was staying crazy busy. So it wasn't like I ignored you on purpose. And then, like not even a week later, my ex breaks up with me again, and that time was not that bad. Like I remember I burnt some shit, but like. And I remember actually it was kind of sad. Me and my mom got into a little argument because like I was just so ready to be angry and like go out that the day it happened, I like broke and burnt a bunch of stuff and then like left and went out with my friends.
It's so sad.
It was, and like I left the house.
But you learned so much from it.
I did. But I left the house, I came back, my mom was crying. And she was trying to like keep it together and not do it till I left. But I like forgot something and came back. But shout out to my mom. I love you. And she came and lived with me for like 2 months pretty much to get me through that, which was everything. So moving forward from the breakup the second time, I'm not like, let me go find a girlfriend right away. I'm like, good. Now like, I've got closure. Let's do this hustle thing. And that was March, mind you. My birthday is April 23rd. So just a couple weeks later, all the boys come together. Corey, Clay, Tyler P, Cody P, Tristan, David, got all the boys. And we go to Orlando. I'm like, all right, we're going to go get drunk, have dinner, go to Dave & Buster's, and then the next morning we're going to go surf Typhoon Lagoon. It was like the ultimate night for the boys. So we do that, and the next morning, I don't know why, we should have done it backwards. We should have surfed and got drunk that night. We're like hungover at the pool, dying, having a great time, and I'm standing on the side of the pool. There's zero inspiration around me, and I look at Tristan and I say, yo, what was that pretty girl's name from the surf contest? Literally. Like, not a female in sight. I just was having a good morning, and like, it reminded me of being a kid again. I feel like my life is really rehearsed right now. Like, I don't know. Like, it just feels like a lot of grind, right? And it felt like that before that too. But because I like got into like a metaphorical car accident and lived, I just remember being like, man, surfing's fun. I love that. Who's that pretty girl? Like I want to continue this like fun happiness train. So me and you do the back and forth, and you reach out to me because of Tristan putting pressure on you.
Tristan texts me. He's like, meanwhile, I'm at FAU, 21 years old, and I work at Billabong in Deerfield Beach. And Tristan texts me and is like, yo, Dalton's asking about you. I'm like, good one, Tristan. It's been like a month and a half, and he doesn't even follow me on social media. How could I possibly came up in a conversation?
Which is how you know it was like actually real and organic. I wasn't even following you, and I remembered you.
And then he's like, well, just message him. And I was like, no, I'm too scared. He can message me. He's like, no, he's too scared. I'm like, Okay, so I ended up messaging him and then we just started texting. And meanwhile, I think he's a year or two older than me because he's got such a baby face. So I'm like, oh, he turned 23, maybe 24. And I'm like, how old are you turning?
26, turning
27.
27 at the
And I
time.
was like, there's no way he knows I'm 21. He is not going to want to talk to me after he finds out. So I didn't tell him how old I was until he asked, but he never asked. And then we hang out for the first time.
I remember I asked you that night we hung out.
No, you didn't. I asked you.
Oh.
Because I come home from Boca after we were texting for 2 weeks, and I'm like, hey, I'm in town to see my parents. Do you want to hang out? And he doesn't text me the whole day. And I was like, great. He's blowing me off. He's doing the guy thing.
Classic Dalton move.
Dalton's a terrible texter. And I'm with one of my good friends, and I'm like, I guess he's blowing me off. Let's hang out. And then he texts me at like 8 o'clock at night and was like, do you want to come over and hang for a little? And I was like, okay, I'll bring some wine. But I didn't want to look like an alcoholic or bring 2 bottles, but I feel like sharing 1 bottle is not enough. So I bought 2 and told Dalton it was BOGO so that it would look better because you can't not do BOGO.
Liar.
And then he opens the second bottle of wine. I text my friend, I was like, worth it. He's opening the second bottle. And then I was like, just to like break the ice, do you know how old I am? And he's like, yeah, you're like 21, right? And I was like, sick. Just making sure. Okay. And then we just hung out and it was awesome. We talked for hours.
We did. We hung out on the couch and I was in a big, like, get to know people phase. Like, I was so renewed. I, like, was really optimistic about meeting people. Not necessarily committing, but like hearing people's story and having a good conversation. And later in the podcast, I'll get up and grab this book over here. We've got our adventure book, and the first couple pages are printed out screenshots of those first conversations. And it's really cool because not everybody has like a movie-esque relationship meeting. But I think ours is super cool, super special. It should inspire a lot of people because as far as my previous relationship, nothing negative about it whatsoever. But I think it's so important to see how it was a stepping point to where I am, and the things I learned before, during, and after that relationship made me who I am today. So nothing but gratitude for what brought me here. And since then, me and Madison have had the craziest, coolest life. We moved very quickly after that and had a pretty mutual agreement that we should move in immediately because
I decided I wanted to move home from FAU because I was partying too much and getting bad grades. Luckily, I just met Dalton at that time, so made my decision a little bit easier.
Yeah, her lease was up. It didn't make sense to stay down there.
Right.
I was being somewhat vocal about my interest in the relationship, but to be fair, I was also keeping our relationship very hidden and protected. And I told Maddie, I was like, everybody's in my business right now. I'm already pretty known around here. My breakup is really catching people's attention, and people are trying to help me, but they're not because they're like texting me about my ex that's out with other people when we're not even together. And I was just really worried that people would try to help and get involved and say something that was going to mess up our relationship. So that's why at first, we did not go in public for about a month. You would come over, we'd go to the beach, we'd cook at the house, but I was not trying to have someone stir up our shit before we could even figure each other out.
And I always go with the flow. I was never been in like a super serious relationship, so it was just whatever made him happy and comfortable, as long as he's open and honest with me. I didn't care what we did.
On that note, one of our friends, I had gone to lunch, and one of my buddies, I think at the time fiancés, had really enjoyed Madison. And
No, they were just dating.
oh, they just dating still? But anyways, they had gotten to meet you, and she was like, so that blonde girl? I was like, yeah. I was like, no. I remember we went to Masa and we were having lunch, and I said, no. And it was quick and short. And she was like, what do you mean no? We like her. I was like, no. She's young. She's pretty. She has blonde hair. She has pretty blonde hair friends.
DQ'd because I have blonde hair.
She lives in a college town, and she has literally 0 mileage on her relationship counter. So, no, I just got out of a 5.5 year relationship. I'm closer to 30 than 20, and I have no business getting into a relationship with some young girl that lives in Boca Raton that probably doesn't even know what she wants. And I couldn't have been more wrong. And I remember feeling this tear of like wanting to pull away from you because I was scared as hell of you because I liked you a lot. But then also this urge to just like take the risk, just jump, because there's something cool about love when it first happens. That fire, that like ignition phase is so just engulfing. It's so cool and it's scary, but it's exciting. So I brought Madison to Boston on a just absolute last second trip. I told myself, I want to bring a pretty girl with me on a trip that's going to make me feel cool because I feel like crap right now, and I should do that. I'm single and I should do that. So I call Maddie and I invite her to go on this trip. And
Well, he texted me. He's like, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I was like,
call it like Wednesday of that week.
Yeah, I was like, I have work, but that's it. Why? And he's like, "You want to go to Boston with me?" And I go to my mom for everything. Like, she's my best friend. So anything she says, I do it. And I call her and I was like, "Dalton just asked me to go to Boston, but I'm a poor college girl. I can't afford that." But he said that it's a business trip. So he's got my flight covered and everything. And he also needs an assistant. So he's going to pay me too, because I told him I had work and I couldn't afford to not make the money.
And just so everybody knows, that actually was true.
I did help a lot, actually.
She did help tremendously. I did need an assistant. And I had some homies I could bring, but I was like, yo, I could bring this smoking hot girl that's like really interested in me, and why not?
So my mom's like, "Well, logically, you're not losing money. So if you call that a work, it's not irresponsible.
It's an
You don't
opportunity."
have school. So, like, why not?" And I was like, "Well, if my mom says it's okay, it must be okay."
For sure.
So I said, yeah. And we ended up going and got these pictures like we've been together for like 10 years.
Yeah, the photos, I'll put them up on screen right here. The first photos from our relationship were in Boston. Shout out to Kadeem and Xavier. I think both those guys took photos. And what's funny is when you look at these photos, they look so rehearsed and they look like an engagement set of a couple that's been together for years. And it was just like a couple weeks in, and the look in our face, I remember the anxiety I was having at that time. I remember the fear and just all the emotional uncertainty I was feeling. But it was overridden by this love that I was feeling very quickly for you. And
his friends were so cool. Like, I didn't know him super well, but I've always had more guy friends than girl. So you think I don't know any of these guys, and I'm with a group of 5 guys, but they were so chill. So I was just like, this is kind of awesome.
And you can ask anybody on the crew. All the homies love Madison. She is just part of the crew. Just to condense the rest of the relationship, we went full steam ahead. We moved in together. We had a lot of growing pains. I had a lot of residual growth. I had a lot of anger issues, trust issues, and Madison really let me in. I let her in with my anxiety, and we had probably a good year or more of a just growth season. Just laying rules down, setting some respect boundaries, and just communicating on how we could grow together. You had a lot of work to do on your internal strength of believing in yourself, going into your tests, getting your job. I had a lot to do with letting go, just having faith, not being so scared of the world. And so we really did give each other these tools to help bring you up to, I would say, just a more organized, structured, tactical part of who you are. And then you brought me down to this calmer, more loving, relaxed, looser version of myself. And I've always said that it's important to kind of like enjoy life as it is. I don't know if I did that like at all before I met you. And I don't mean like in my life, but once like I was a carefree kid. Like I was a really carefree kid. I definitely had anxiety stuff there, but like the business just amplified that. So meeting you helped me really pull it back and start to enjoy life. So we hit the ground running. We started going on trips. We did the cruise. We went to Tennessee. We went to the Dominican Republic, to Costa Rica with CJ Hobgood, to Puerto Rico, to Hawaii for our honeymoon. Like we became just this power couple that adventured and had fun and really inspired some people in the process. Because the important part here, guys, is that all the people that followed me saw the rise and fall of my relationship and myself. And then when Madison came along, everybody on the side was like rooting and praying and watching. So the reason people are so emotionally connected to this journey of us is because they were literally front row. They were there. And it's so cool. Like I said, the way people describe this relationship and the impact it's had on them is really cool. We've inspired people and helped people in a really unique way. And I think that's a blessing.
Yeah.
So now we're parents. We've got Kaya Smith, our 7.5-month-old baby girl. And she is just literally everything. Me and Madison can't.
I don't know if she's like 7.5 yet.
Seven and a quarter.
We'll still say like 7.
7?
Don't make her older than she needs to be.
Let's take a look at some of our questions. What were the pivotal moments in your careers? How do you keep the passion alive for your work? So for me, some pivotal moments were that breakup. I literally wanted to quit my business, and I had to really push through my heartbreak. My whole world changed, and I had to focus on what I needed to do. And then COVID was the craziest situation ever, and it really enhanced who I am. And then what do I do to keep the passion alive for my work? I mean, for me,
I was like, did you just skip me?
No, that was a two-part question.
Okay.
And then it's like keeping the passion alive. I feel like it's because I started passionate. I picked something that I'm so addicted to. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I have to put gas in the passion tank, but I feel like it's because I do what I love. Like, if I filmed just conventions, I'd hate my job. So I think it's because I pursue things that really ignite my soul, and they're what make me happy. So what about you, Maddie? I know that you are obviously, anybody that doesn't know, Madison is a veterinary technician. She works at Maybeck Animal Clinic, and great team, great people. They love Madison to death.
You don't have to say that.
They sing her praises so loudly, and I have told Madison she's a great vet tech, but she's an even better person. And when it comes to morale and teamwork, you need people that will keep your team up, and that's what you are. I know that.
Well, I probably wouldn't be a vet tech if it wasn't for Maybeck Animal Hospital, so I wanted to be a marine biologist, decided that wasn't for me, but even before that, I was in high school with the business academy, like I was saying, and I got an internship at the Brevard Zoo in the veterinary portion, and I got to watch the veterinarian, the vet techs do the whole thing, and that was when I was like, well, this looks awesome. I want to do that with marine animals. And then I went to college and stuff, realized marine biology wasn't for me, blah, blah, blah. And then I went back to the Brevard Zoo when I moved home after I met Dalton, and I volunteered at the sea turtle hospital at the zoo. And I saw a girl drawing blood from the sea turtle because I still didn't know I wanted to be a vet tech yet. I was just like, marine biology is not for me, but I want to do stuff with animals. Let me just focus on getting my AA now that I'm home, and then volunteer at the sea turtle hospital, so I'm still doing something I love. And I saw this vet tech draw blood from a sea turtle, and I was like, what's your job? What's your degree? How'd you get here? And she was like, I'm a vet tech. You have to start in the program. You start with cats and dogs. And then I just got experience after that, and so I ended up at the sea turtle hospital, and I was like, done. Went home, started looking up vet tech programs, found St. Petersburg College, Told Dalton that's what I wanted, graduated from EFSC, got my AA, and then applied to St. Petersburg and got in and did the online program. And this program is just like healthcare for humans. You have to get clinicals and hours and stuff. So I needed a place to go do my hours, and my dad knew someone, and I got in that way and met the manager and stuff, and they let me in, and I started getting my hours volunteering and stuff, and it was cool. I was watching from a distance, really nervous. And then I had to start doing stuff with the school, so I started doing hands-on stuff, and that Mabec Animal Hospital is so good at teaching. They were just really taking the time with me, showing me what to do, and I was like, this place is pretty cool. And then my manager was like, do you have a job? Like, I was like a half a year into the program, and I was like, I mean, I work for Dalton from home, but like nothing crazy. Why? And she was like, you're learning really quick. Can I just hire you to be a vet tech with us? And I was like, get paid to do what my hours are for school? Yeah, you could hire me.
Which is so gangster because, like, me and Madison talked about how in the veterinary industry, the medical industry, it's not very common to be able to just get the job before the degree. But Florida is one of few states in the country that does allow you to operate and be hired as a veterinary technician without your actual degree.
Right.
And they saw an opportunity. I totally get it. As an employer, I hire so many people that might not be like certified at that thing, but I see it in them.
Well, it's cool
and I see
because
their
like
energy.
they got to morph me to be exactly what they wanted me to be. I didn't have experience from other places, so I wasn't closed-minded to learning their ways because I didn't know anyway. So they're like, let's make her ours. Let's
Yep.
morph her to be this tech that we want exactly. And I love learning stuff and being taught how to do things hands-on. So they were just so great to me and nice to me, and really like took the time with me because I'm not a quick learner, but they were just like, here's how you do this, and they would explain it to me over and over again. They were awesome. So
Those guys are a blessing.
shout out to Mabec.
The funniest thing about parent life is right now Madison is monitoring the baby on her phone, which is so funny. So whenever you're ready, Madison, we're going to jump into our next segment, which is Life with a Baby. And the first one here is share the initial, and we'll try to keep our answers kind of short because we have a ton of content. Share your initial reaction to finding out you were going to be parents. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Initial reaction, we planned the baby basically down to the month, and we knew it was coming, but the moment that we saw pregnant, I just felt that overwhelming sense of this is bigger than me, right? This is crazy. Like it wasn't bad or good or joy or it was just like pure excitement. Just like a burst of energy. And honestly, I was pretty dang convinced you weren't pregnant. So initially I was like, we'll see, we'll see. But like, because you felt like you were pregnant. Now, I'm not saying once we saw it. When I saw it, I
didn't feel like it at all.
So when we went to CVS,
but I
vlogged it. And I remember I'm filming you on the way to CVS.
Well, I texted you while I was at work.
I know. And I told myself when I was like, why are you vlogging? She's not pregnant. Like, this is pointless. And literally, dude, when you went to flip the thing over, I didn't even have energy.
Well, do you remember the first test?
Oh, yeah. What did it say? Book. The first test literally showed a picture of a book.
It was an old test, but it wasn't expired. And
so we look at it and I'm like, it says book.
I was like, I can't look. I'm too scared. You look. And he flips it over and he's like, book. And I was like, okay, Dalton, enough jokes. Just say I'm not pregnant. He goes,
literally says
no,
book.
it was a picture of a book. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? And we looked it up and it literally just said defected test.
Yeah.
We'll get a new one.
So
I was like, well, that's
we took the
stupid.
test, got the book symbol, and then went to CVS. And I'm just like, this girl's not pregnant. But my reaction, Just absolute joy and disbelief that I'm at that point in my life where a baby's coming.
I just didn't believe it. I was like, is there such thing as takesy backsies? Because I don't know if I'm old enough for this. I feel like a teen mom.
I know. All right. I'll go first on this one. Discuss the adjustments you've had to make personally and professionally since the arrival of your baby girl. So personally, I have had to really discipline my temper, my patience, and my priorities of what is most important. I never really waste time, but it sucks realizing that you can't do everything. There's only 24 hours in a day. And Emily Zeck was on a panel with me the other day, and she said, you can't choose anything without not choosing another. Like every day, every moment, right now, we're choosing to do this. So yeah, it was a big reality check when I realized I was a good guy, but I needed to grow to be a good dad. And it's been great for me. I think maybe Madison can speak to it, but it's definitely made me more patient across the board with everybody. It's really changed who I am. And then on the business front, I would just say it put immense pressure on me. I had less hours a day, and I had a lot more stress. But it's made me a way better hustler, a way better business owner, and I have more discipline now with turning work on and off than ever before.
Yeah, we have a really good system now.
Now, what about you?
Which we just did the system like a week ago. So
I know.
It took us like 6 months to really, really get it down.
So if you
which
want
was
to
great.
talk about that, what happened is we, a month out, we stopped everything as far as a month from the baby being born. No work, no travel, we're home.
Which is what it should be. So
that last month, I don't want to say no stress, but it was like keep Madison and the baby alive and healthy.
Yeah.
Then we have the baby, just crazy life transformation. The first week or two is just, I don't want to say fear, but just like eggshells. We're new. We're just trying to keep this baby alive. And then the first 2 to 3 months is like getting a rhythm going. And then month 3 to 6, I felt like we kind of settled into a rhythm that we didn't realize wasn't perfect. So recently, very recently, we decided we're going to do things on a certain day, not do certain things on a certain day. And
we were cooking dinner at like 10 o'clock at night. We're like, this is not realistic.
And what sucks, and I will say this, is a big thing that I hated early on about becoming parents, is you and I have really curated some great systems. They got botched by the baby. We never get to shower together anymore. And we have to like cook in a little bit different way. It's not like this cool chill, we're hanging out listening to Jack Johnson with no pressure.
Well, we just did everything together. Go to the grocery store together.
And we're
Lay on
spoiled.
the couch together. Yeah, we did it way more than the average couple.
Because I own a business and we work together, we've spent just 20 years of time together in 5 years. And it was just frustrating that like the little things I was accustomed to were getting removed. And I didn't hate it, but I realized that's part of it, and you got to sack up,
Well, the first
adjust.
month was like so hard. Obviously, we have a newborn, new system, but my postpartum stuff was really rough too.
Yeah.
I was nauseous, so I wasn't eating at all. Like my whole family had to like
For, like,
pitch
what, a
in
week
and
or
like
two?
grocery shop for me and like buy the most bland foods because like no, it had to be the first month. Like I was
was.
really anemic after having Kaya, which doesn't help. But for some reason, I was just like I would just touch food and be nauseous. And it was terrible. So I was losing weight quickly. Like I just wasn't eating because I wasn't hungry, which is hard because I was feeding Kaya too. So I needed to make sure I was making milk.
Yeah.
So it was like a really hard balance. And then one day I just started feeling better and eating normal again after I started eating the bland foods that everybody bought me. Thank goodness we have a great support system, and my family, my grandma, my mom, they kept making me a bunch of bland foods for me to eat, which was
Support
super
system
helpful.
is everything.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that kind of bridges into the conversation anyway, because I got postpartum anxiety. And I never had anxiety before. So personally, I changed a ton. Like, I've always been the laid back, go with the flow girl. Like, I don't really care about anything. I just want to take care of the people I care about and do fun stuff, and that's it. And then I had Kaya, and I was like, oh my God, germs exist, and she's so fragile, and she doesn't understand anything, and I have to teach her everything and protect her from everything. So I was like hyper focused on it, and
Well,
like,
just the daily systems that you were trying to adjust to and adapt and create, it
right. And
was
I
a
was
whole different world
exhausted
for you.
while trying to take care of her. And then people are like coming around when even when she was older, like 2 months, 3 months and stuff, to like meet her. And then I'd hear somebody sniffle, and I'm like, what was that?
Well, and a
And
big thing that you said that I want to point out is that Madison wasn't learning how to overcome postpartum anxiety. She was learning
that I had it.
what anxiety feels like. So I've had anxiety my whole life, but when Kaya was born, I got a new flavor that I had to learn how to deal with. But everything that I've learned about anxiety came into play, and I felt prepared. You have never had to deal with anxiety at that level, and you got hit instantly with this deep anxiety because you now have a human that you're taking care of,
That I have to protect.
and you
And
can't control most of the stuff that can harm
right.
her.
So
And
I
so
was
that was
just
tough.
like overload. I was crying every day for everything. Like,
So
just
let's talk about your coping, because you haven't gone to therapy, and I've helped you how much I can. But truly, the only thing I've done is say, hey, Maddie, here's some tactical, mind based things you can do. But to the people, as a person that's never had deep anxiety, as a person that's never gone to therapy like that, like I have, like I was basically born into anxiety, what did you do to cope, and not just cope, but adjust your thinking to where now you actually feel better
a
before it
lot
happens?
better.
So what did you do?
I didn't really do anything. I kind of was just like, just telling myself I can't control everything and just doing the best you can. And now that she's older, like, she's obviously still fragile, but not as fragile, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel more in control of being able to protect her. And if she gets sick, like, it's okay. But I just would just tell myself, like, just push past this. It's okay. Like, you're going to be okay. I call my mom and she'll talk me down and stuff. And
Anxiety at its core is mental warfare. So
yeah.
when I ask you what you did, you can't really, I mean, you can say I went to the gym, you can say I listened, but truly, it's all up here.
Yeah, I just had to change my way of thinking, and it still gets me sometimes. Like, I'll hear a cough or something. I'm like, it could just be allergies. Like, you're cool. Just don't have Kaya all over them. Like, it's so weird because I've never been scared of that, but it's just because she's a baby. She doesn't, and that's the spiraling that I do with the anxiety. Because I'm like, she's a baby. She doesn't understand. She's not going to feel good, and I can't take it from her to make her feel better. So I'm just going to do everything I can to avoid it from happening. And
Yeah.
that's just not realistic all the time. And I talked to one of my friends, and she had a fear of her babies getting stolen or something. So, like, moms have a specific fear about something that they hyper focus on. Mine just happened to be something that's really common in everyday life, which is like germs. And
Yeah.
that's just crazy because I've never been like a germaphobe or hypochondriac or anything crazy like that. But with Kaya, I felt like a crazy person. I kept saying that. Everybody's like, stop doing that. That's going to ruin your mental health. And I just kept saying, I'm nuts. Like, I know this is unrealistic, but I can't not feel this. I can't help it.
But you are responsible for what you tell yourself. And that's why early on, some advice to the mothers out there, Madison is a prime example that it can happen to anybody. I'd say you were probably the least susceptible to have postpartum anxiety.
Well, I've
And it
never,
hit you
everybody
hard.
talks about postpartum stuff, but I've never heard anybody talk about postpartum anxiety. And so I felt like I was the only one that has it.
No.
So
And
sometimes
what
I
I'll
still
say
do
is,
because I just don't know.
as a guy that has lots of anxiety, I felt, I don't want to say pressure, but I really wanted to help my wife. What I learned was that all I could really do was support you, give you just enough advice, but then step away. because you were against yourself.
Because it wasn't even just the germs. It was her system. They're like, let's go to dinner. I'm like, I can't. Her system, it's going to mess her up. She needs to nap at this time, do this at this time. Now that she's older, she's a lot
Well,
easier
just the
to
other
take
day,
places and
you
do
completely
stuff.
voluntarily screwed her schedule up yourself, and it was okay, and you knew it was. She had an opportunity to go see her grandmother, and it was mostly because the plan changed. Grandmother was going to come here. She was hurt and couldn't come. So Madison decided to pack that baby up, drive an hour to Orlando, and then come back. And you did it by yourself without any stress. So I encourage all the moms out there to not solve it today. Baby steps. Tell
I
yourself
thought
it's
I was
okay.
stuck with it forever, which made me even more upset. Cause I'm like, this isn't me. This isn't who I have been my whole life, but I'm going to be stuck like this forever. Nobody likes me like this. Like, I feel like
So
everybody gave me a hard time all the time for being obsessive about Kaya stuff.
well, let's talk about that. That's called the feedback loop from hell. So when you've got anxiety and you know it, and then you try to stop it, and it gets worse, and then now your anxiety is worse because you've got anxiety. Now you've got anxiety because you know you've got anxiety. You can't stop the anxiety, so your anxiety gets worse. And that is called the feedback loop from hell, and it's really scary because every time you think it can't get worse, it can. And then you hit this slope where you're just scared of your own
People
brain.
would make little comments to me, like trying to joke, because I can make fun of myself or whatever. But people would be like, I would cough, and they'd be like, "Oh, keep your baby from that," because I gave them a hard time about
Yeah.
having a cough, and I'm like, haha, but like that hurt a little because I'm like,
Well, let's
I
transition to that.
can't help that I am the way I was. Like,
No, and let's talk about that. I would like to talk about things that pissed us off as parents from other people, because we spoke heavily about things that people did and said during the course of your pregnancy, your birthing process, and now having a baby that we thought were wildly and grossly inappropriate. And some of them I found to be very consistent. And I'll go first because I love to draw some blood. I find that a lot of people, especially middle-aged women and older, tend to say inappropriate things to a pregnant woman. And I witnessed it with you, and I watched the effect it had on you. A lot of people would say things like,
yeah.
"Oh, you're so huge," when you were pregnant. People would ask all kinds of weird questions, and maybe you can help me remember some of the actual statements. But one of the ones was people assuming at what stage you're at, or
Yeah.
people trying to fearmonger you. People like, "Oh my gosh, just wait, this is going to happen, that's going to happen." The Dooms parents can kick rocks. We're kicking ass. And I think that anticipating hell all the time is a sick way to live. And it really upset me that Madison would get into a comfortable place. And Madison struggled with body change, which who wouldn't? All her favorite clothes didn't fit. She couldn't wear her work shit. Her body was changing. She was gaining weight in places that weren't her belly. And she had people say stuff to her, assuming it was funny or cute or sweet. It was not. So I feel like people need to be a little bit more careful about the shit they put on a pregnant woman, because truly your advice is your advice. It's like a butthole. Everybody's got an opinion. You got to be careful how you throw that thing. There's a different word for it, but they say opinions are like you know what's. Everybody's got one. So I just think we need to be careful with new mothers, blasting them with all this shit. I just felt like it was a lot for you.
oh, yeah. They were just like, oh, are you like 8 months? And I'm like, no, I'm 6. And they're like, oh, wow. And
You're
I'm like,
huge.
I was like, oh, okay.
And people think
yeah.
it's okay to call a pregnant woman huge.
It makes me want to be like, how far along are you? Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Awkward. Like, it doesn't feel good. Why would you say
No.
that to me? I already know I'm a freaking hippopotamus. I'm cool. It's whatever. This is what's happening. Little did I know I was having a 10-pound baby. I thought I
Yeah.
was just gaining weight, but no, I'm freaking carrying a teenager. But
Advocate for yourself. I have had the worst medical experiences in my life. I've had IVs ripped out of my arms. I've had people tell me I don't have a kidney stone when I do. I think that in the medical field, you have to advocate for yourself across the board. When we went in there to get our first ultrasound, and that woman looked us in the face and said, "No, we don't have any paper. We're not printing it
It was
out."
actually like all the ultrasounds,
But that
except for like
first
the
one,
last 2 or 3.
that
or
first
2.
one, that woman looked at you in the face and said, "Oh, don't worry about the print. You can't see anything. It's just a little blob."
Yeah. Yeah, what?
Just a little
Literally, I
blob.
was so excited. I'm like, we're going to see our baby for the first time. And she's like, there's no paper to print. And I was like, okay, so how can I have like my forever pictures and like show it off and stuff? And she's like, I can get you a CD. A CD. It's 2024. Where am I going to have a CD player? Really? And then I was just like, well, I'd really like to have like handheld stuff. Can I get it later? And she's like, it's just a blob. It's not like you can see anything anyway. I'm
That.
like, the blob?
That.
That is my baby that I would like to see. I don't care
Yo,
if it's a speck.
Those are fighting words. That
was
lady was
like,
lucky I didn't flip that building upside down.
She's and then our other ultrasound, the lady almost didn't print us anything. And I was like, can I have a printed copy? And she's like, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to give that to you. And I was like, it's
No,
my
dude.
baby. What do you mean you're not allowed to give me a printed picture? She's like, I can print you like one. I'm like, okay, I guess that's better than nothing. And by our last ultrasound, like towards the end of everything, I was scared to ask anything. I was scared to speak. And we got the nicest lady. And I was just like, oh, what's that? And then she just started explaining everything to me, the anatomy of the baby, what we were looking at. She was so sweet. I was like, this is like
She was a sweetheart. They're in
Satellite
Beach. Look up like, I think it's Beachside Ultrasound or Space Coast Ultrasound. You are amazing.
Yeah.
This woman listened to us complain about our horror story. She told us the reason she started her business was stories just like that, where people were being treated like a number. They weren't being respected. They weren't being cared for. We went in there and got this 3D ultrasound and got to see our baby girl for the first time.
Yeah.
And the pure excitement that we had was shared by the woman who did it. She told us all this information. She showed us what we looked
With their
at.
heartbeat in it.
Dude, she put a heartbeat
It was so awesome.
in a little recorder
Yeah.
of Kaya's real heartbeat. And she was so happy for us. So shout out to you, because that salvaged what was a pretty crappy intro to parenting, because before we got to see our cute little jelly bean, we went through hell. Moving forward from that, let's see what else we got on Chat GPT here.
Should we talk about like how we handle our finances in the house, especially
For
with
sure.
the baby now?
Because that is a big thing. And
That's been a big thing for us before Kaya.
yeah. So when I met Madison, I had already established a pretty successful business. I was single at the time, so I was obviously supporting my household alone, paying my bills
I was a college
alone.
girl, broke as a joke.
And so Maddie moves in. And moving in quickly, the premise was, let's just soar this bird or crash this thing.
Yep.
There ain't no time to waste. So I said, I'm on the lease. You move in. If I hate you, I kick you out. If you hate me, you leave. It's
Yep.
all good. So we move in.
Well, you know, our first financial thing, I'll never forget, because to me, I still owe you that money, was you got me a Universal year pass.
Yep.
And that's so expensive. I'll never forget it, because I was like, please don't get this for me. I can't afford this. And he's like, it's fine. I got it. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I can't pay you back. And he's like, it's really okay. I got it. And it made me so uncomfortable.
It was funny because
like,
it was a year
I owe
pass.
him now.
It kind of like, I mean, I'm buying a year pass. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like hopefully forwardly thinking in the relationship. But no, man, like, you had so much love for me and respect for me early. I never once felt that you were around for the wrong reasons. So why wouldn't I spoil you? You know what I mean? God has blessed me with a life, and you know this more than anybody. I don't just go do shit. Everybody's probably thinking I'm like this big money spender. My clothes are old. I don't buy things for fun.
Yeah.
I buy food, and I go on trips for work, and I buy Madison stuff when I want to. But that was something that I wanted to do. You know, you were such a blessing to my life. I just wanted to do things for you. And it wasn't about like spoiling you for the wrong reasons. It was just about like, I want to go love you in this place. Let's go try this here. Let's go
So what we
adventure.
did and do now is you pay for almost everything, and when I have the money, I pitch in where I can immediately. Like I pay for our lawn to get done. I pay for half the phone bill. So there's just things where I can afford it. I do it cuz he's obviously the breadwinner, and so he pays for everything, and then my end of the deal pretty much is I kind of keep the house in order. I do the laundry, I do the dishes, like I help keep the house together while he's working so hard for us. And
But we do balance those things.
right,
I
he
hate
also
the
helps
I hate
too.
the concept of like you're the mule.
Yeah.
Who cleans this house in the morning? So
Yeah.
we take
So
turns, and on the money front, I feel like people get weird for weird reasons about money, right?
yeah.
So, okay, I chose a life of entrepreneurship. I chose to build a business, and technically, I'm in control of the money it does or doesn't make. So, I work very, very hard to structure my money to cover me, you, the baby, the life, everything. If I decide that we're going to drive bigger, nicer cars, I'm putting that pressure on me to make that much more money.
Right.
So I know what we have, I know what we don't, and I know what this business could grow into. So I'm very strategic, I'm very flexible, but I'm also kind of strict with money. And
Yeah.
I'm
And
strict
if
with
I
you.
always tell you, if you ever need me to pitch in more, I'll pick up more shifts because I only work 1 day a week. So I chose to do that so that I didn't. Dalton told me I could be a stay-at-home mom if I
I'd
wanted
rather
to.
pay for everything and have Madison here. Like, I work 60-hour weeks, easy. Why in the hell would I do that to not be with my family more? So if my
And
work,
he would do that if I was working or not.
I would,
Like,
but
because you own a business, that's what you do.
because I cannot let my relationship fall at the wayside because we're busy or I've got a big project or I've got a new idea. There are days where I tell Madison, I love you, sweetie. June, July, August is going to be a little wee bit hairy. We've got 12 fights in 11 weeks for ESPN, but I'm going to take weeks off. We're going to do some fun vacations in between. We're going to ebb and flow and counteract the hustle. But it takes balance. It really does. I am blessed to have a cash cow business, but I'm a forward thinker. So it doesn't matter if we have $1 or $1 million. I pretend we're broke.
Yeah.
And I want more time with my family.
Unless you're doing what you're passionate about, which is why I chose to do it
It is important to
one
work.
day a week right now because I wanted to be with Kaya. Like I graduated 2 weeks before I had her, and I'm like, bro, I worked so hard for this degree to do what? Throw it all away and not use it?
I did support wholeheartedly
Oh yeah, because you
you
were like,
going back to
be a
work.
stay-at-home mom, and I'm like, okay, but. And then that was where my anxiety went in too, because I was scared to leave Kaya.
But I
and-
supported you going to work for that day too, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Like,
And I was like, what if I go back 1 day a week and then you just take Kaya for that 1 day and I work 1 day? And he was like, that's a great idea. Because before I wasn't going to go back. And then I was like, well, then I'm going to volunteer somewhere 1 day a week. So I still have a piece of me and I can still go do something I love. And I'm like, but why would I do that if my boss will let me work 1 day a week and I can still make us money while I'm doing what I'm passionate about in a place where I'm comfortable? And so I was like, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. Everything happens for a reason. Let's just ask my boss, see if she'll let me do 1 day a week because she might need somebody around way more than 1 day. And I don't want to fill that position. I totally understand. So I explained that to her and she's like, no, we'd love to keep you because I'm sure as she gets older, you're going to want to work more again. And I was like, you're right, I will, because I did enjoy making that money and having money for myself and to be able to spoil you and help pay for stuff in the house. Because even though he says it's okay, I still feel uncomfortable with it. But I also have accepted it more because it's okay and we're not drowning and he's not killing himself.
I'm going to make that money regardless. I'm
Whether
going to
I'm
go
working
chase
5
that
days a week
regardless.
or not, he's gonna make that money. So I was just like, I'm uncomfortable, but when I can pitch in, I feel so excited and proud, and I'm like, I can
And I get
help a
that.
little bit. And he's always like, I appreciate your help, because he knows that helps me feel better, like I'm contributing, even though I am, and taking care of a baby's a full-time job, and laundry and stuff.
Do you know
so
why that day a week is important? It definitely ain't the hourly pay.
no.
You are a passionate woman. You really are. You are so passionate about many things. And animals and your work, you take immense pride in your work. And I think that's
I
really
do.
cool.
I love it.
I feel it. I see it. I've witnessed it. So just so everyone out there knows, for me as the breadwinner, her day a week, I could give a shit about that little extra income. When she goes to work on Tuesday, two beautiful things happen. One, Madison is fulfilling her passion. She's pouring gasoline into the cup of Madison's fire. You have to keep that forever. But then on the other side, Daddy is getting pulled away from work. I am not being forced, but I am being given the opportunity to spend an entire day away from work and with my baby girl.
Yep.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I tried working on the wrong stuff at first, and I was like, oh, this is tough. Wait, I just won't work.
Yep.
So to anyone out there doing the money juggle, you have to pay attention to what you have, and you have to let go of what you don't. If you do not own a business that allows you to do what we do, you're going to have to find your own rhythm. It's going to be different. Maybe your wife works 3 days a week. Maybe you open another side hustle.
Well, it doesn't matter the dynamic either, because they're like, oh, the men have to be able to afford everything
No.
if you're going to do it that way. Like,
Dude, the woman could do it.
If the woman is the breadwinner
Run it.
over the guy, what's wrong with that?
Mom
Like,
could be home
literally,
every day and
as
dad
long
goes and
as
works a
you guys
week.
are both happy and on the same page about stuff, who cares what the dynamic is? Like, back in the day, it was like that was so important. The man
No.
carries the weight. That does not have to be
Dude,
the case.
screw
Like,
that
as long
archaic
as you're
shit.
happy, you're not like drowning yourself or overworking yourself, and you have a great compromise, who cares?
A lot of that stuff is archaic thinking.
Yeah.
And it's not applicable. So we have a great balance, and that's how we do it. We have a swimming pool method together. We fill the swimming pool with water, metaphorically. And sometimes I have to do work that sucks, meaning I'm gone a lot. And Madison will show me her support with one sentence. She'll say, fill the pool. And it shows me that Madison knows that I'm doing this to fill the pool, not because I don't want to be home.
Yep.
So really for me, the mindset is a marathon mentality. I stopped focusing on our problems as big things when they're probably just little daily hurdles, and trying to be just very respectful when I speak to you, not be too particular. Because when you're with someone all day, every day, like, who doesn't get frustrated? I get frustrated with me. I'm stuck with me all the time.
Yeah.
So it's really just slowing it down, being patient, communicating calmly.
It's so funny because, like, our strongest thing is communication, but our weakest thing is also communication.
It's so backwards. It's so funny. You're
it's
right.
Like,
You're totally right.
Most couples, like, suck at communicating, but, like, we're very good at it, but very bad.
We almost
at it at the same
over-communicate
time.
sometimes.
Yeah, like it's hard, and you just have to figure out how to speak to each other kindly, and like, because Dalton over talks a lot. He's a big talker, and
Thanks.
I under talk. Like, I'm terrible at speaking, and I hate conflict, and I hate confrontation. This stuff makes me nervous. Like, I hate it. I'm terrible. I'm a yes. And how can I fix this as quickly as possible, even if it's like doesn't benefit me? Like, I just want everybody happy all the time.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us because he likes to fix it, and I like to just submit and be like, okay, it's fixed. And he's like, but it's not, because that's not fixing it for you. That's fixing it for me, and I need it to be fixed for us.
And that's a big tip, though. Respect that men and women, and just individuals, men and men, women and women, doesn't matter. We're all different. I am a fixer. Madison is a thinker and a little bit more of a just slower to assess kind of person.
It like takes me a while because he's like, we got to fix this now. And I'm like, but I need like a minute.
And that's okay.
I'll walk away and do laundry. And then I'm like, I know how we can fix this. And I come back to him like 15 minutes later and he's like, now you want to talk about it? And I'm like, well, now I have a solution. I didn't on the spot. I kind of like just try to fix it immediately, which is just saying yes. But then I walk away and I really think about it. And then I'm like, I have a real answer now.
And that's important.
It's hard because we're very different in that way.
But we respect how each other listens and speaks.
Yeah.
I have learned to not force you to fix an argument or a problem right away.
And we just learned this about ourselves like a couple weeks ago.
Well, we've just been, it's not, we haven't
Each
just learned.
time
No,
we keep tweaking it.
We've
but
added
I just
another
realized
level.
that it takes me a while to come up with a solution. And then I said it, and he's like, well, I never knew that. And I'm like, well, neither did I till just now,
So
which is
here's
why
what
I'm
we
telling
do.
you.
We have a situation. I now know to be respectful and slow with the resolution. And Madison knows to take her time, but then come back to me so we can have that conversation. And then it's all good. We're respecting both of our personalities and we get amazing stuff done. And I'm proud of us for that, for real. You and I have come a long way. Share an instance where you had to rely on each other's strengths. I would say through the anxiety phase when I first met you and I was literally crippled, like I could barely get on an airplane, you really, I don't even know what you did, but just you being this calm, loving person, you being such a calm, relaxed, go with the flow woman, and me being this just high strung, prioritize, line item, do it guy, leaning on you being so opposite helped me so much. And that was a big thing for me.
Well, you taught me how to stand up for myself for stuff with my friends that would walk all over me. Because, like I said, I'm a yes girl and a no conflict kind of person. So I would just brush things off or let people do whatever they wanted and kind of just not say anything, but like vent to you. And you would just be like, why don't you tell them? And I'm like, because they're going to hate me forever and I can't deal with that. And then I tell them and then we just talk about it and then my problem's fixed.
Yeah.
And it's not eating at me. So you kind of taught me to stand up for myself for things, which is cool.
Have you ever heard the term like where people refer to like the boss or the captain as like the fearless leader? I take so much pride in being that for my team. I am known NPI wise as the one that will jump in the fire. So like when shit hits the fan and there's an angry client or things are going crazy, I will pick the phone up and jump right in.
Yeah,
and
not me.
I have always known deep down the value of hard conversations. Some of my best friends have salvaged and improved our relationships by saying difficult things to me. So I was just very concerned with your lack of initiative to tackle those hard things, and I had learned very difficult lessons, and I was just really eager to show you that your patience and calmness is awesome, but you do have a sword and there is a time to take it out.
My sword is dull.
Not
It needs to
anymore.
be sharpened.
Dude, I've seen you now. You don't even know
it's a
it.
little sharper now.
I've seen you. And what's cool is you have a badass mom. I love your mom. And you're becoming your mom more every day. And that's a huge blessing. What's going to happen is through motherhood mostly, you're going to expedite your courage, your growth, what you know you want, what you know your truth is. You're not really going to wait around for the world to walk on you. You're going to speak up. And I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it with work. I've seen you do it with friends.
Yeah.
Shit, I've seen you do it with me. And I love that you have the courage to put me in my place because this is a relationship. We are 50-50. And I think it's cool. We've both kind of come up and down and met in the middle and shared those skill sets with each other.
Yeah.
It's crucial. And that's why we make such a good team. I don't know. I just want to say thank you to everybody that has supported Madison and myself. We have some diehard support, whether that's our friends, our family, or the people online. Madison has always felt second place to me. And I feel like in recent years that's changed a little bit.
I'm like third place now that Kaya's around.
No, I guess we should talk about Kaya a little bit. Um, just motherhood. How has that changed you in the 7 months since she's been here? And what does it mean to you to be a mother to that beautiful little girl?
I mean, it's just everything. Like everybody's like, "How do you like being a mom?" And I'm like, "It's everything." I didn't know. I knew I wanted to be a mom my whole life because like my mom's so cool. So I was like, I want to be her and I want to have like a little best friend. So I always wanted a girl, and boys are cool too. Like their sports are fun and stuff, but like I always wanted like a little bestie. So when I found out I was having a girl, I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And she's just like more than what I was expecting. Like her little personality and her smile, like it's so cute.
It's the
It's gonna make me
best.
cry how awesome she is. Like
What
we got
this
so lucky. She's such a good baby. Like
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you guys out there. I really hate to report. We have the best baby
which is
ever.
why I'm so scared to have a second one. Because everybody's like, the second one is like way crazier. And like, that's cool. But like, Kaya was so good, like, is still so good about sleeping
No.
and her routine. And
Kaya's been sleeping
she's
like
just the
12-hour nights
happiest
lately,
baby. Well, except for the
except
past
for
two
last night
nights.
because,
But
we had plans today. And of course, she
well, it's
was
the
like,
past 2 nights. But that's okay. It's fine. We're working with it.
yeah.
I think she might be getting more hungry. So we're going to feed her more food and
Ooh,
stuff.
I've got one. Getting out of your comfort zone. Your first trip, Syracuse, New York. I drug Madison and the baby to an ESPN fight.
He didn't drag
Not
us.
drag, but
I wanted to
dude,
go, but then it
it
got
was,
closer. I was like,
bro,
maybe I don't want to go
there
anymore.
was some elements against us. It went from 70 degrees to snowing up there. So we flew into basically, I don't want to call it a blizzard, but a snowstorm. It was a
It wasn't
longer,
a snowstorm.
it was a
It was
longer
just
flight.
snowing.
It was 3.5 hour flight, which is longer in
Yep.
baby world.
Yep.
So what did you do and what advice would you give to parents out there, mother and dad, for their first trips and some of that anxiety? Because holy crap, TSA, parking, airplanes, germs. What did you do that made you feel better? And what advice would you share?
My real answer is I watched a bunch of TikToks on it and the easiest ways to travel and stuff,
Hey,
which
that's
really
cool.
taught me a lot.
Using your tools.
Like, I mean, so like TikTok and everything is used for like stupid stuff, but also it's like really teaches you a lot. So I just bought a bunch of stuff that like not a bunch of stuff because you want to travel light too.
Well,
But
mention a
just
couple items. So to condense
so
this, Madison did some mental prep for sure and really
yeah,
like let go, which is just an internal compartment thing where you say it's okay. 2, you bought some really cool things and prepped some things. What did you buy? What did you prep?
so I bought like it's like a changing mat, but it has like little zippers and pockets and stuff. So it had travel wipes, travel diapers, and then I fit an outfit in case any poo explosions happened.
Toys.
And I put a toy in there so that she has something to play with. I bought to go Lysol. I might have overly cleaned compared to other moms and
But it's
stuff,
okay.
but I was like obsessive. So I got some Clorox wipes and stuff too. So I'd spray like Lysol spray where you would lay her down to change her, and then I lay the mat down and the mat would open up perfectly to where you had boom wipes, boom diapers. So you're not taking a million things out of a diaper bag to like get it all out. Everything was just in this one little
Yeah.
case. So then you could leave the diaper bag like with you, and I'd bring the little case and I laid it out, sprayed the thing, then laid
That
it
thing
down.
was a lifesaver, not just for cleanliness, because I'm a clean guy. I was raised by a dad that definitely is a germaphobe. And having the mat with the cubby holes, with the diapers, the
Yeah.
wipes, the cream,
Yep.
it just makes
So
it
you're not
functional.
digging in a giant backpack
No,
and stuff.
it's
It
like a
was awesome.
freaking pocket knife with all the little bells and
And
whistles.
so something else I saw on TikTok was get dog pee pads, and you can lay that down. If you don't want to wipe the
That
thing
was
down,
smart.
you lay the pee pad down, then put the changing mat on top of it so that it's not touching what all the other babies touch
Yeah.
and stuff. And then you change her, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you just throw the pee pad away. The pee pads are so cheap. So, and it fit in that little pack as well. So I just unzipped, put the thing, then the other mat, and it was that was probably the best thing that we did.
Yeah, no, that
And
was a
then-
game changer. Then front of the plane, if you can help it, is
Yep,
great.
front of the plane.
Something I didn't love at first because I'm a team person. I don't like to separate Madison. She's like, get on the plane first, clean the seats, prep the area, get the
'Cause
car seat on there.
we bought an extra seat.
Not everybody can do this.
Right.
But we did buy a seat for
extra
me,
seat.
a seat for Maddie, and a seat for the car seat. So I get on the plane with the car seat and the stroller. I do the check of the stroller at the actual bridge, and then I get on the plane, and I had to do happy seats popping around and cleaning. But by the time Madison got on the plane, I've got the car seat mounted. I've got the toys hanging. I've got all the stuff ready to go.
Yep. And even if you're on the front of the plane, and they always say kids can board first, you board last, because it takes 45 minutes itself for everybody to board on the plane. That's 45 more minutes of your baby sitting on an airplane.
Now let's dive into that. There are some rules here. If you have a carry-on bag, an overhead bag, you need to send dad or mom, whatever, someone on the plane first. If you fill the overhead storage bins, which happens frequently, they will check your bag, and then you have to go to checked baggage. Now, if you already have a checked bag, whatever. But for us, we try to do carry-ons exclusively so we don't have to check stuff.
Not
so
for this trip.
if you get on the plane last with your bag, high likelihood they're going to check your carry-on. So send dad on the plane first. Take that overhead space while it's available. Get the car seat in, clean the seats up, whatever. Mom, do not board with your group. Board when they're about to close the door and they're like, Madison Smith, we're going to leave you. Get on the plane.
Yep.
You're going to spend maybe 10 minutes on that plane before the wheels start rolling. Because like she said, if you get on the plane first, sometimes you might not realize it. It's 45 minutes before they take off.
So that's more time to try to keep your baby still. And we planned it around we tried to plan it around her like nap and feeding time and stuff. And you want to feed the baby when the flight's taking off and when the flight's landing, because that helps pop their ears.
That went well.
That went really well. So she got antsy like as we're about to take off because she really wanted to eat. And then I fed her and it made her fall asleep. She slept for like 20 minutes there, and then on the flight home, she slept for 45 minutes, because on the flight home, we got a delay, which made me panic as well.
Yeah, well, what I've learned that I've struggled with in life is my expectations being challenged. So when I expect a rough day, and then it gets rougher, and I'm not willing to go with that, I get very mean, I get very grumpy and frustrated. So what I've learned is just hope for the best, but really anticipate the worst, because for me...
that trip taught me a lot, because like we always talk about my anxiety and stuff and the germs with the airports and everything. I was just like, oh my God, this is like next level for me. Like I finally started doing better. And then we get there, and then my sister had a cold, and that made me panic. And I'm like, I can't have you near Kaya, because now my anxiety's spiraling. So I'm like, if Kaya gets congested and then we have to fly home, oh my gosh, her poor sinuses. And I just got so scared, and that's not fair to anyone. So I needed to calm myself down.
Don't you think it's super important now that you've learned to like halt that process of anxiety? Because what I always tell you is you're not wrong. You're far from wrong. She could get sick. That would definitely suck. You are not wrong. But how do you feel right now? You probably feel like crap. You probably feel straight because you're telling yourself all this stuff, right?
Well, I started crying, and then I give myself a headache the whole day, and then I feel terrible.
So I always tell Madison this. What do we know? She's healthy right now. We can keep a little bit of distance from your sister to be safe. If she starts feeling a certain way, we can do this or that. I always tell Maddie, let's be protective and aware of what could happen, but let's not write the end of the world book today.
But then Kaya also isn't sleeping in her crib. She loves her crib. So that's how my brain works. I'm like, her everything. Like, I can lay her down in her nap time while we're in New York now, but she's in a pack and play. That's not as comfortable. How can I make this as comfortable for her as possible? Which that's normal thinking. But when she doesn't sleep, I'm like, I need to go home. She's not going to have a normal trip now. She clearly is not going down like she normally does. And then I start crying again. And I'm like,
But
this
how
is
did it
terrible.
actually go down?
Everything went fine. She slept like a little rough, but nothing compared to what another baby would be doing out of their
Exactly.
comfort zone. And then the flights were great.
Even
flight
the
home,
delayed
even
flight.
with the delay, because Kaya was so happy. I was like, this flight's going to go so smooth. We were on the flight.
We got lucky though.
And then they're
Big
like,
tip.
we have to get you off the plane.
JetBlue. Maybe we got lucky. Sweetest flight attendants ever.
Yeah, because we were in the first seat. The flight attendants were so nice, keeping Kaya distracted. We were surrounded by the nicest people, too. And they were just like, literally, I had a mom tell me I'm doing great. She's like, you're doing great. I noticed that you're breastfeeding. That's so great. You're doing awesome. Like, this stuff is a lot. And she had 2 kids of her own on the plane. And I was like, that was so sweet. Like, sometimes you just got to tell people,
Yeah.
like, you're doing good, because that hits you. Like,
Moms,
makes you feel good.
keep supporting the other moms.
Yeah.
Because my beautiful wife was okay and feeling good, but that mom with those adorable kids leaning in and affirming, Madison, you're doing a great job with that little girl, and then giving you some mom advice, telling you some tips and stories, that was awesome. And I loved that. So we survived our first trip to Syracuse.
Yep.
And in about 3 weeks, Kaya is going to Puerto Rico for her first trip. We're going to go take her maybe surfing at Hobo's Beach.
Yep.
She's going to get to touch the water, try some acai, and it's going to be the coolest adventure for her.
I really want to see Turtle swim up to her.
That would be
that
so
would
cool.
be so cool.
I know she's still sleeping, but maybe we'll take a break and we'll jump back in when she's awake.
Okay.
You down with that? And we'll close.
Gosh, she's almost been sleeping for 2 hours.
I know.
Chocolate.
Welcome back, everybody. We now have Kaya Smith, a.k.a. Chunky Cheeks, on deck. So ChatGPT has given us 3 quick little questions to close out this podcast, and they are oriented around our baby girl. Can you share a little about what makes our baby girl laugh or smile the most?
Oh, geez, dude, her laugh.
So most babies have this cute, like,
Belly
belly
laugh.
laugh. Kaya goes, ha.
It's awesome.
It's this one
It's awesome.
sound. So, she just threw up on you.
Oh, where?
On your pants.
Oh, it was just a little bit. That's okay.
That's parenting right there. Getting thrown up on in the podcast. And then
That wasn't a
saying,
lot.
and then she's just like, no big deal. Right.
It was just a little.
What makes her laugh the most?
She's pretty ticklish. She's a very ticklish girl.
You tickly girl, Kaya.
So her thighs are ticklish, her little ribs are ticklish.
Oh,
and her
yeah.
side, her feet are super ticklish.
Yeah.
Got something to say?
And she loves her Chunky Cheek song.
Yep, that.
What's one thing you hope she inherits from each of us?
Ooh. I hope she gets from you just the drive for making anything happen for her that she wants and being confident in it.
I hope that she gets your free-spirited, love everybody mentality that you have. You are one of the most carefree, non-judgmental, just good people that I've ever met in my entire life. So knowing that our baby girl is being raised by you makes me feel very confident as a dad.
And I want her to have your blue eyes.
Oh, she's got those blue eyes. She's going to be breaking hearts. Looking ahead, what's one adventure you're most excited to experience with Kaya as she grows up?
I don't know. I guess just figuring out what she loves.
Yeah.
And her just things that make her happy. And like, activities and hobbies that she likes to
So
do
just
and
like
stuff.
seeing what she gravitates towards and latches onto.
Yeah, like
I feel
will she
like-
love surfing? Will she love like softball or
Yeah.
volleyball or like something like totally left field that we never saw coming? Like,
It's going to be cool because she's going to have such a conducive environment, not just filmmaking and surfing, but we're around cool people and cool places. She's going to have a lot of inspiration in her life.
well, yeah, and you didn't go to college and built your own business, and everybody's like, "Oh, she's gonna be a videographer," but what if she wants to be a vet tech like me?
She could do
be.
anything.
Or she wants to freaking be a professional surfer or a professional athlete or
Stay
an
close to your mic.
artist or anything.
I think you pointed something out that I really like. She's growing up in a household where one parent dropped out of high school, got in trouble, struggled a lot, and started a business. And then she's going to have a mom that still struggled, had plenty of hurdles in your own right, but you did go to college. You did pursue a more traditional career. And I think it's cool that she's going to be able to see both worlds.
Yeah, she'll have an example of both and know that whatever she does is okay as long as it's not illegal.
For
then
sure.
she can do whatever she wants.
For sure. I loved those questions, so I picked 3 more. So let's just do these real quick. What's her favorite lullaby or song that we play for her? I think
Chunky Cheeks.
we just established that it's the Chunky Cheek song.
Yeah.
We wrote our own lullaby, and when Kaya's sad, that's what we
the
sing.
song. Yep.
How has our baby girl surprised us the most in her first 7 months?
I don't know. I guess just with how happy she is as a baby. Like, that never went away. Even, she's licking me. Even when she was a newborn, like, she has just always been a happier baby. She never really cried a lot, except for from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Look
when
at
she
her
was a
right now.
newborn.
She's so happy. I agree. We got this happy baby and we were like, when's it going to go away? Like, when's it going to stop? And as you can see, it never did. If she could understand one thing we'd be saying to her right now, what would it be? Probably I love you. That has got to be the most loved baby
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. And mama.
Yeah.
Want you to know mama.
The battle for mama or dada
Dada.
first.
Yep.
It's been a blessing. I'm so
But
stoked.
definitely I love you or ocean.
Yeah.
I want her to understand what the ocean is. Not just for surfing, but just for happiness or peace or
Yeah.
calmness or anything. Like, the ocean's everything.
I am so happy we did this. I love you to death, Madison Smith. I could not be more proud of everything you've done as a person, as my wife, as the mother of our baby girl. And I'm super proud of you for doing this podcast. I know this is like,
Completely out of my comfort zone.
yeah, you may see me do it every day, but it's way different to be under the gun with 3 cameras in the world watching. So I appreciate you, Maddie. I think your testimony is going to help women out there, and it's cool for you to come join me and share. All right, Chunky Cheeks, you want to say bye, everybody? Say bye-bye.
Bye.
I appreciate you guys watching. Please make sure that you subscribe for more episodes of Trust the Process. We have an unbelievable lineup of guests coming soon. So leave some comments, hit that like button, show us some love, and I will see you next time for Trust the Process. Later, guys.
Bye.